Hello and welcome to New Junction. So as you can probably tell from the title of the video, I've been sent a big box full of new trains. So I wasn't joking, it is a huge box. It's full of lovely Hornby boxes. Judging by the thumbnail of the video, you'll already know what's in it. So join me and we'll get it unboxed.
The next train to arrive at platform 4 will be the 1500 Virgin train service to London King's Cross, calling at Darlington, York and London King's Cross. First class will be front of the train, standard to the middle and rear. Food bar and trolley service are available in standard class, and for customers in first class are already offered. Platform 4
So a few weeks ago when a message landed in my inbox, I absolutely hit the ceiling with excitement, because one of the reasons I set this layout up was for the Class 91. Now, to have a viewer, in this case it was a chap called John, who not only had the train of quite literally my dreams, but was willing to loan me it for a video. It was just fantastic. And as you can see, here it is in all its glory. It is still the old tooling, but it has been heavily modified. There's weight to it, there's lighting, and of course it's been re-liveried to the LNER livery. And of course it doesn't just start with the 91 and the DVT. We have of course a full rake of the Mark IVs as well, which are like rocking horse plop. Now I myself have been trying to get my East Coast grey livery 91 resprayed into this, and that's proving a fun task, but someone somewhere has done it. Right, so we're on the layout. The set towards the top of the screen, as you can see, the 4-car set is the original Hornby Virgin set, which I've rebranded, and then the one towards the screen with the lights on is the lone unit with all the coaches. From this angle, apart from the lighting, you can't really tell a difference in the sort of quality. It is a very old tooling now. I think it's nearly 30 years old. That said, you probably could weather this to look something rather special, and it's definitely the look I was going for when I created New Junction and the station. Right, what I'm going to do is zoom you in now and go for a bit of a closer look and see if we can tell any differences. So the first major noticeable difference, and what a difference does it make, is the addition of lighting to the lone unit. This really does change the feel, bring it up to date, although the tooling will always be old tooling. As a sort of relatively simple mod that you could do yourselves, this really does make the difference. And I think with a bit of weathering overall, especially if you're skilled in that area, you could probably make these pass for some quite current rolling stock, especially if they're going around your layout at speed. Because the original one towards the back doesn't have lighting, it's just sort of got stickers as lights, it does give it a very toy-like feel. So I think that's a big area that lets it down. Now the other one is the LNER branding, particularly on my version, which was originally the Virgin livery. On the donated one, there's no red square around the LNER logo. Now in reality there is a defined square where the old paintwork has faded and the new LNER sort of sticker, vinyl as it were, is new and the full-on sort of cherry red. So there is a noticeable difference. There's not much to split hairs about. Same again, you can't really tell, but it is something else. With the lighting, it's not just on or off, or forward and reverse, etc. It does allow you, especially when you put in your own independent lighting, to have it fully controllable. So if I put reverse on the loco, you can see the lights at the back have come on, of the actual driving engine, the driving unit, and the fronts have gone off, but the reds are independently controlled, which I think is a really good feature, because you could form some nice running makeups. You could have the 91 pulling the DVT, for example, as is often seen. Now, believe it or not, the coaches is actually where most of us struggle. I know I have, to get the sort of LNER livery, or Virgin livery, whichever you choose, in the Mark IVs. So you are left with a few options. You either get the more sets, so you can have 2 coaches per time, like this back one, and the painting is sort of factory crisp, or you can opt to have one resprayed, like the one at the front. There are a few subtle, and I mean subtle, differences. For example, the white line in between the sort of cream and the red is faded on the original Hornby one, whereas the resprayed one is actually just a white line. That's where the main differences tend to stop. There are transfers, as you'd imagine, on the resprayed unit, such as the first class stickers, and of course you've got the blue double line on that one. You have all the coach signs, and then the warning signs, etc. They're all fairly fine. Unless you were looking under a microscope, you would struggle to initially tell that these are resprayed. In terms of pricing, as some of you know, I do have the East Coast set. I have been trying to get that resprayed professionally into this livery, with no success, sadly. Obviously it's a big job. In a respray sort of price range, you are looking anywhere between £70 and £90 per coach to have it professionally done. That does seem to be a bit the norm, but when a train is 9 coaches long, it's quite a considered purchase, so as you'd imagine, I've still not had it done. The other option you have, of course, is to buy the Hornby limited edition sets and just take 2 coaches out of it. You can find these for probably about the £200 mark, so in relative terms you're not far off, and you would have a factory crisp model. You'd still have to add the transfers, however it just depends how picky you are, or the quality of the workmanship you can, I suppose, have done. Like I say though, it's a bit out of my price range. So those of you who have had the pleasure of running such a long train, now because the tooling is so old, and let's be fair, it was aimed at children when it first came out in the intercity sets back in the day. In fact, it was the first set I ever owned by Hornby. The coaches are extremely light, and to be fair, even with the big D-lock couplings they come with, they don't suit running on sort of more traditional layouts without derailing or having the problems. So they do need to be modified. Now John has had his modified, and I'll run you through what he's had done quickly now. So the first one, hopefully to help it stop jumping. Now I personally don't think this mod is truly necessary, as I don't use the similar fix with my East Coast set. However, the wheels have been replaced on John's coaches to have bigger flanges. These don't like crossover points or double slips, as some of you know, I have a few of them on my layout. They don't derail on them, but they do jump, which doesn't look very realistic when you're running around. Now, if I roll the coaches over, you can see now, this is confusing. The coach on the right is a respray, but has the original wheels. Don't ask me why. But you can see how different they are. Now, the other mod you can do to all the coaches is add weight to them. Now, John has added bits of sort of metal weight in between the bogies, as you can see here, and each coach has 2 pieces. Now this does help, particularly in stopping the trains being too light and jumpy. So I tend to find this is more of a problem when you run DVT first. However, this can be solved just as you can see here with a very simple fix. So as you can see with the DVT, they are actually the same model. Whoever did John's one on the end took off the Virgin lettering and then added the LNER without an extra square, whereas I painted a red square on and then added the lettering to try and simulate the sort of more realistic paint difference you see in reality. Now, being honest, I prefer the one on the left. My one, the paint tone, although typically on the bottle correct, it's dried, particularly with the varnish, particularly light, and in reality it would be darker than the actual rest of the loco. So I think I need a few more goes with that one. Otherwise, the main difference again is the DVT has running lights, and that really makes a difference, as I said earlier. So after receiving so many queries about the intro on my last layout sort of update, because it featured the 91 with all the coaches, I thought I'd do this little video. Now, the most important question, which I don't have an answer for you, is who did it. Now, John bought these off someone else who had it done, presumably, so we don't know is the answer. So if you do know someone who did it, or the person who did it sees this, do get in touch and I'll share it out with everyone. There's a sort of final word on the 91s, particularly the old tooling by Hornby. I know the LNER variant and some of the, I suppose, more modern variants are quite expensive for what the model is, particularly being so old. However, it can be quite a good sort of project because, for example, as we all know, Bounds Green is a thing. I got this beastie, which I'll show you. Ooh. And that was a tenner. So once I hone my weathering skills, I'll be able to make a sort of Bounds Green replica and hopefully stick it at the front of one of these trains. So when I come to do that, once I've consulted various people of talent, I will show you how it looks and see what we can do with a £10 engine. So there we go. Now the mystery of the 91 has been answered for you all, because I was inundated with questions about it on the my last layout update. So I just want to end here with a big thank you once again to John for loaning me his train, and hopefully that's inspired some of you to look at getting your own 91s resprayed, etc. Or maybe it's drumming up excitement for newer models from newer manufacturers. Who knows? Hopefully you've enjoyed this video as much as I've enjoyed making it. But once again, thanks again, John, and thank you for watching. So take care, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.